The man with the yellow hat's hat was special. But what made it so special?
George, come on, it's time to go. When I put my hat on, I'm all ready to head out the door. What? Huh? What? Okay. George, that was funny, but you know the rule. No one is allowed to play with the yellow hat.
George sure liked that yellow hat. George's cap just wasn't special.
I'd like to return these. They were yellow, but after only one washing, they turned saffron. I have to make a big speech, and I need to know my shorts are yellow. Like a hat of your own, George? Well, which hat do you like?
George wanted a big yellow hat, but there was only one of those in the world.
Well, you could try different hats till you find what feels right for you.
So George began his quest for headgear.
Hey, where's George today? Didn't recognize ya. That's not a city kid hat. Some hats are right for some people and some aren't.
George's friends didn't appreciate any of his headgear. Picking the right headgear was not easy. What made the yellow hat so great? It was just plain fun.
George, I need to wear the hat for an important speech at the museum. Please don't play with it.
That's what George wanted. A fun hat that he could play with. George wanted his fun hat to be more than just a normal hat. He'd use his cap for shape. He would need an opening. Because that would be his ice cream dispenser. But it wasn't fun when it froze the top of his head and then melted and leaked. To solve these problems, George used heavy poster board and raisins instead of ice cream for a fun, healthy snack and a hat. liked to chase things, so she liked the fun hat. Now, if he could just figure out what Hundley would like. Hundley wasn't impressed with George's fun hat until he saw it had doors and dachshunds. His dog friends were taken care of, but what would a cat like? All of his friends liked the hat, so George added more fun for himself.
And in conclusion, blah, etc., so forth and so on. Well, that's some hat. And yellow. Can I see? Oh, boy, this is one fun hat. Wow, if I could have had a hat like this, I may never have gotten my yellow one.
That was the best thing anyone ever said to George.
You want me to have it? This is the best thing anyone ever gave me. Oh, surprisingly comfortable. You want me to wear it outside? Sure, why not?
Good after. Oh, some chapeau.
George made it.
Having people see the man with the yellow monkey fun hat made George feel very proud.
Hi, Charky. Oh, easy, girl. Oh, no. I'm late. George, I've got 5 minutes to get to the museum for my speech. I have to make a good impression.
George was tempted to play with the yellow hat, but the man had asked him not to, because he needed to wear it to give a very important speech at the museum. Oh boy.
Bye, George. Bye, George.
And if an apple traveling at the speed of light hits a static banana...
Oh, everyone's here already. Great. Professor Wiseman asked me to speak today about the scientific method. Of course, we've all heard the saying, what goes around comes around. Haven't we? Did I say something wrong?
No, continue. This is fascinating.
Whoa, what's stuck to my hat? Oh! I'm wearing George's... Actually, I can explain.
The scientific method is about thinking creatively, taking chances, and being willing to fail.
And you made that point very dramatically.
I did?
Oh, so modest. Now, where can I get a hat like that?
Well, George made it.
I want one.
I want two.
And that's how George got his picture on the museum wall. On warm evenings, George always filled the bird feeder at bedtime.
Time for bed, George.
That way, in the morning, he woke up to the sound of happy birds. Empty. Birds never ate the seeds that fast. Maybe a big bird gulped it all down first thing in the morning. No. George would have noticed giant feathers in the neighborhood.
Hey, George. What you looking at? Oh, baby possum tracks. Short for opossum. Maybe you've never seen one because they're nocturnal. Nocturnal animals are active at night when the rest of us sleep and the town is quiet. I gotta finish my route. See ya.
A possum? George wondered what a possum looked like. So the next night, he prepared for a stakeout. Since he might get hungry if it took a long time, he made himself a tuna fish and banana sandwich. And then he waited, with only the radio to keep him company.
Are you ready to hear the legend of the lake creature of Lake Wanasink Lake? Well, it's said to roam the countryside the first full moon of every summer, and that's tonight.
Was this a possum? And if it was it all right? Well, it certainly had an appetite. Its tracks matched the others. So this was a possum. Now that George had seen one, he could go to bed. George told it to go home, but it didn't go. Maybe the baby possum was lost and needed help finding its family. But George had no idea where the possum's family lived. The possum ate some bird food. Maybe it lived with birds in a nest.
So don't be surprised if you hear strange noises and see a creature with the head of a fish wandering through town.
Yeah, right. It's the lake creature.
George decided that possums and birds probably didn't live together.
He was here, Mr. Quinn. He tried to get in my window.
George thought he knew all the animals on Rankin's farm, but maybe he only knew the day animals. George had never seen a bird like this in the daytime. It must be nocturnal, too. The possum's family wouldn't live here. It was too noisy. When the cows had heard the bell, they thought it was milking time.
Oh, phew.
Clever. It was as if the possum played dead when it wanted to be ignored. Did the possum's family live here? Nope, not in this log. George felt bad about waking Jumpy Squirrel, but he had to move on. Then he got an idea. Playing possum had its uses.
I got another call about the creature. This time, it stampeded cattle at Rankin's farm. But let me reassure the kiddies that this is all in fun. The creature's only a legend. I hope.
George remembered that the possum liked fish sandwiches, so maybe it lived in water, like beavers. Raccoons must be nocturnal, too. But his possum showed no interest in living in water, unless he lived in a boat.
Clint, that lake creature seems to be stealing our boat.
Maybe this possum's family lived in town. George held him high so he could help look.
Folks, remember, the lake creature is just a fisherman's legend. He doesn't exist. Except there he is. He must be 12 feet tall and as terrifying as a shark holding a harpoon.
It was getting later and later, but George still hadn't found the possum's home. He found more nocturnal creatures' homes. He found daytime creatures' homes, too. But he couldn't find the possum's home. He was so tired, he was imagining possums everywhere. Or was he? The possum family lived in a tree.
George? Kind of late for a stroll. This has been quite an evening. Citizens report and night creatures.
George had seen night creatures too. Bill was right. There were a lot of them. But Bill was wrong about the town.
Lock your doors. No telling where the creature will appear next.
It wasn't at all quiet at night.
Night, George. You sleep well.
George would sleep well. And with the possum gone, he'd fill the feeder and wake to chirping birds.
Morning, George. Time to get up. What? George? Oh.
George learned one more thing about nocturnal creatures. Little animals that stay awake at night sleep during the day.